The Dallas Cowboys look to get back on track this weekend and back in the win column as they welcome Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens to Arlington. And joining me with the preview is our good friend, Locked On Cowboys podcast host, Landon McCool. And hey, good morning. Boy, I was not expecting such a rough game last weekend. I bet you weren't either, though.
I certainly was not. I certainly was not expecting that sort of game from the Cowboys, and I'm certainly not expecting that sort of game from the Cowboys this weekend, hopefully.
Okay, yeah, right, hopefully. No more embarrassment. First up, let's talk injuries. So we've seen CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs both on the injury report this week. Where do they stand, and is there anyone else you're watching?
Trayvon Diggs, I'm just going to keep an eye out for today's practice report when it comes out. I'm a little bit hesitant about that just because I haven't heard too much about it. It sounds like it's a foot thing, but that's all that we've really heard. CD, I think it's just a precautionary thing. He was back at practice yesterday. I think Trayvon was as well, but we've gotten a little bit more information about CDs. It sounds like it's fine. I'm waiting to hear a little bit more about Trayvon before I kind of feel good about that situation.
Okay, now, I joked earlier. It's no laughing matter. The Dallas defense did not show up against the Saints last week. It was just rough. Micah Parsons calling this a prove-it game for the Dallas defense. What do you expect to see this week?
Yeah, certainly a better run defense. Look, they're going to face a team that is really going to challenge them maybe even more than New Orleans did last week. I think New Orleans had a really great game plan. Their game plan was to avoid clear passing situations where they have to block Micah Parsons and throw on Trayvon Diggs. And I think by avoiding that and still managing to generate big plays, they were able to score a lot of points in this Dallas defense. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Baltimore, employ a similar game plan. They, may just kind of try to avoid all obvious passing downs, try to avoid long third downs so that the Cowboys can't unleash Micah Parsons on Lamar Jackson, help use Lamar's legs, use Derrick Henry, try to attack the Cowboys on the ground and then pick their spots when they're going to throw the ball and use max protection so that Micah Parsons doesn't wreck the game for them.
Okay, so we've talked about the players, but what about defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer? How is his return going with the Cowboys this year?
Well, after last week, it's not going so great. I'm sure he's picking his jaw up off the floor after what happened. Look, obviously week one was really great. And week two was really bad. And so we're looking to kind of land in a soft spot in between, I assume, at some point. It's still very early days. This is September football, as Mike McCarthy likes to say all the time. So this still is a lot like preseason, that we used to expect kind of in the 90s and in the early 2000s. Now that they've changed everything and teams aren't playing as much in the preseason, it seems like things are just very disjointed. Scoring is down across the league. So I'm still waiting to get a couple more games before I'm making kind of final judgments on exactly what this team's going to look like the rest of the season. Okay,
so this will be a tough test for the defense period because of who is on the other side of the ball this week. So Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson and his scrambling ability.
Yeah, that's really the bread and butter of this offense, right? Like they're definitely going to try things early to get things going with Derrick Henry. They'll try to throw the ball through the air, but ultimately, what makes this offense for Baltimore run is Lamar Jackson running the football, making plays with his legs. Now, the first two games, if you watch the Ravens, it was brutal for Lamar Jackson. He was, they obviously lost the last two games, but beyond that, he took a lot of vicious hits. He's taken a lot of beating, trying to just make plays for his team. So if I'm the Cowboys, I'm trying to keep it all in front of me. I need to have better defensive line play so that you can't just have, a normal run game beat you. Then you've got to force them to make Lamar Jackson beat you with his legs, and then hope guys, like Overshone and Clark can spy Lamar Jackson and just prevent him from making big plays with his legs and his arm from outside the pocket.
Now, we know the Cowboys paid big for Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. So far, 2 touchdowns in 2 games for Dak. CeeDee hasn't hit 100 yards yet in a game. I know that, I was talking with Mark about this, Marcus Took, and he was saying, he thought Dak played pretty well last week. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, like I said, if you look across the league, passing is down. And I think that there's been an emphasis in defenses across the league in playing more shell coverage, more safeties back. And what that's doing is that it's forcing quarterbacks to throw the ball short, and it's disrupting passing games, and it's forcing teams to try to run the football more. So you add that and the combination with the fact that Dak and CeeDee didn't get any time in the preseason. I still think they're kind of working out the timing on some things. There was definitely one of those throws where CeeDee was running into the end zone and Dak threw it one spot and CeeDee was looking the wrong way. So there's going to be some of those moments that they're going to start cleaning up as the weeks go on, as they get more rhythm. And I think you're going to see an uptick in the passing attack. And this might be the week to do it. The one thing you can could say about the Ravens defense is that they haven't been really great at defending the pass. So maybe this is the week, especially at home, for the Cowboys to kind of get right in the passing game.
Okay, so here we are, third week in a row. Cowboys are Fox's game of the week with Tom Brady on that call. So what are your thoughts on how Brady is doing in his broadcasting debut?
Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I think that's indisputable. I think that there's some transition to moving into the booth. I think that's normal. Obviously, he's incredibly insightful. I mean, that's where you're going to get the best of Tom Brady is when he's kind of breaking down defenses and breaking down offenses and telling you the kind of inside baseball, if you will, about what's going on. I think if anything, right now it's just about being comfortable with his broadcast partner, and I think that's just, again, it's like the Cowboys. They just need a little more few weeks to kind of get things sorted a little bit, get into regular season form.
Yeah, it's his rookie season as a broadcaster.
Exactly.
Thanks, Landon. We appreciate it. Good to see you. I really hope we have something better to talk about next week than such a poor performance last. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
You and me both. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Well, you can catch Landon with new episodes of Locked On Cowboys every day. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you wake up with us the Monday after the game. NFL insider Ed Werder will join Marcus Took on Daybreak to break it all down. Werder has covered the Cowboys for decades and brings you the kind of insight you are not going to get anywhere else. I have learned a lot during that segment. Tune into the 6 o'clock hour of Daybreak Monday morning right here on WFAA.